I'd like to call the meeting of August 9th, 2018 to order. We have, before we get into prayer, we have a couple special intentions. Mayor?
Thank you, Council Chairman. I want to take a moment of silence for retired Kenner policeman, retired Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office deputy, and also our not retired, but our co-director, most recent co-director, Mr. Rick Walter. He served the city of Kenner and also Jefferson Parish in many capacities. Unfortunately, we lost him last week due to an accident he had about 4 weeks ago, actually the day after we were all sworn in. Rick was a great friend. Rick was a great asset to the city of Kenner and always there for everyone. So I just want to take a moment of silence and just remember Rick. Thank you, Rick, for what you did.
Thank you, Mayor. Also, I have one, and almost similar to what you just said, another retired Kenner policeman, Mr. Charlie Lee. He passed away. We did his services this morning. Charlie is one of the few guys that was on the Kenner Police Department before I started. And so there's not many of us left in that era, and certainly was saddened when he passed away also this past weekend. But Charlie was a very fine person and he was also, if you'll notice, our police chief's not here. It's the stepfather of our police chief, Mike Glazer. So he was the stepfather of the police chief for, I don't know, 31 years or so that Charlie and the chief's mother, Callista, were married. And they both fortunately got together after each of their spouses. Callista's husband, Mike Glazer, who was a reserve officer for the city of Kenner, passed away, and then Charlie's wife, Sandy, passed away, and then the two of them merged and carried on their life very pleasantly and did a lot together and were very well known in the community. So again, hate seeing these old timers like this leave, but him and Rick were certainly a big part of our city for a long time. So we missed him and hope everyone keeps him in our prayers. Councilwoman McKinney, would you lead us in prayer?
Is this on? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Lord, thank you for this day and the opportunity to come together and to make decisions for our community and work together for the best of Kenner. On this first day of school for many children in the city of Kenner, Lord, please watch over them throughout the year. Keep them safe to and from school on the streets and crosswalks. Please keep them safe in their schools from violence and bullying. Keep their minds open and always striving to better themselves. On this day, please give us direction, fortitude, and grace to deal with the challenges that may lay ahead. May we seek your guidance and work steadfastly in your name. Amen.
Amen. Councilman Brannigan, would you lead us in the pledge?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Madam Clerk, you can start with the agenda.
Yes, sir. We have a quorum this evening. In accordance with Council Resolution Number B 14550, please be advised that our cellular telephones, pagers, beepers, and other devices of this nature must be deactivated or silenced throughout the council meeting. Under resolutions, motions, and other items from the floor, Mr. Chairman, I have received a request this evening to add item 3E, application number 2105-18, porch and patio wine and beer garden, to hold a public gathering on August 17, 2018, from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m., and on August 18, 2018, from 3 p.m. to 11 p.m., for the purpose of a procession, for the purpose of a festival at that location.
All right, motion by Councilmember Carroll, seconded by Councilman Segura, to amend the agenda to include item 3E. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to object? Please come forward. Seeing none, council members, please vote.
Mr. Chairman, motion passes 7-0. Under the consent agenda this evening, we have item 1, approval of minutes, the council meeting of July 26, 2018. Item 2 is approval of alcoholic beverage permit applications. Item 2A is a resolution granting an alcoholic beverage permit to the Friends of Rivertown Incorporated on September 2, 2018, at Kenner Laketown, West Peninsula, being property owned by the City of Kenner in Kenner, Louisiana. Item 3A is application number 2101-18, Yolanda Williams, the Lincoln Manor Reunion, to hold a public gathering on September 29, 2018, from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. for the purpose of a reunion at Veterans Park. Item 3B is application number 2102-18, Liberty in Christ Christian Church, to hold a public gathering on August 26, 2018, from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. for the purpose of a community awareness gathering at the church lot on the corner of Pollock and Short Street. Item 3C is application number 2103-18, Jefferson Chamber of Commerce, to hold a public gathering on October 21, 2018, from 7 a.m. to 12 p.m. for the purpose of a Tour de Jefferson bike ride on various streets in Kenner. Item 3D is application number 2104-18, Our Lady of Perpetual Help Catholic Church, to hold a public gathering on September 9, 2018, from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. for the purpose of a procession at 2008 Short Street. Item 3E is application number 2105-18, Porch and Patio Wine and Beer Garden, to hold a public gathering on August 17, 2018, from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m., and August 18th from 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. for the purpose of a festival at 512 Williams Boulevard, in Kenner, Louisiana. Item 4 is correspondence, reports from the mayor, CAO, or department heads. Item 4A, at the request of the administration, a report from Mayor Zahn.
Mayor?
Thank you, Council Chairman. Just have 3 introductions tonight. You have 2 things on the agenda. One item is for the Department of Citizen Services, and the other item is for Visit Kenner. 2 things that are showing that Kenner is moving in its own direction and breaking off of some things that we've done in the past. The first one I'll take is Visit Kenner. We have been with the JCVB for a number of years. JCVB does a great job working for the parish and also for the city of Kenner, but I think we should do that ourselves. I think Kenner should control their own destiny and their own money and ask Jefferson Parish when we need help. We know that our parish council people come and help us, and the parish comes and help us when we ask. But for our hotel motel monies that come in, we need to keep that in Kenner. This was done in the past. It worked for a while, and as we all know the history, it went south. With this administration, this council, and our chief, Visit Kenner will not go south. It will be something that Kenner will be proud of to put Kenner on the map. We have a lot of things going on in the city of Kenner. Rivertown is developing. Laketown has a lot of development that's coming. We have a lot of strip areas that are coming, a lot of shopping that's coming, and we have a lot more work to do. So I've chosen Carolyn Barrett, who I'm going to call up to the podium, and I have 2 other ladies to introduce from Citizen Service as she's finished, to give you a little heads up on what we're doing with Visit Kenner and what her background is and what she brings to the table. Ms. Barrett?
Thank you, Mayor Zahn. Thank you for the council for allowing me to speak. My background, I've been in the hotel industry for over 25 years. I was with the Jefferson Convention and Visitors Bureau for 3.5 years, and with my role with the Jefferson Convention and Visitors Bureau, my sole goal was to sell Kenner. So I have a vested interest in selling Kenner, and I know what needs to be done to sell Kenner. I'm also a Kenner resident, so and again, another vested interest in this area. I have a great relationship with the Pontchartrain Center and all the hotels in the area. I'm excited to work with the council and Mayor Zahn's staff to create some new events and to bring more tourism and increase our tourism in the area.
Any questions? None?
Thank you.
Thanks, Ms. Barrett. Also want to introduce, and I probably should have warned him before I did this, Luis Rodriguez. He's been with the city of Kenner for quite a while, working in our clerk of court, not our clerk's office, our clerk of court office. He is now the director of clerk of court. I think y'all just need to see him so you get familiar with the face. Luis, if you could step up to the podium, just introduce yourself. Just want y'all to know that that's been some changes there. No one has been let go. We've moved some people around, and Luis is now the clerk of court.
Hello, everyone. My name is Luis Rodriguez. I'm thankful for the opportunity to direct the clerk of court department. And I've been with the city, like the mayor said, for 5 years, and I'm excited to take on this new role. And if anybody needs anything, I'm here to help out. So, thank you.
No questions? Thank you. Nice meeting you.
Thank you, Luis. And the last one we have is the Department of Citizen Services. It's time to start dividing up the federal funds from the non-federal funds. It's time to start expanding the food bank. It's time to do things different for the whole city of Kenner, predominantly in District 1. And I've been working with Greg Carroll, with my administration, to make sure that Councilman Carroll feels comfortable with this. I want to introduce two ladies who have been with us for quite a while, who have done a great job in community services. We now have a director, well, we will, with y'all's blessing tonight. We will have a director and assistant director of citizen services. This is going to be a very important department for all of Kenner. I'm not just saying District 1, but predominantly it's going to stay based in District 1, but it's open to every Kenner resident. Of course, I work with that councilman, and like I said, Councilman Carroll has been very, very helpful with this. I want to thank you, Councilman Carroll, for your support as always. This is an important move for the city of Kenner to have these two ladies head this up. The director will be Siobhan Thompson, and the assistant director will be Chantel Miller. If Siobhan wants to address the council first, that'd be great, and then Chantel, if you can follow her.
Hello, I'm Siobhan Thompson, and first I would just like to thank the mayor, his administration, and the council for allowing me this opportunity to lead this new department. I am really looking forward to implementing the ideas that me and Chantel have come up with to have the Department of Citizen Services operate like wonderfully. So thank you.
For Chantel, for any questions? Good, thank you.
Good evening. I'd like to echo what Siobhan said. I'm Chantel Miller. I've been with the city for 10 years now. I've operated the food bank for 5. I've also managed all of the homeless prevention and all of the fire victims assistance programs that the city has implemented over the years. So I have experience in helping the community. I think that the Citizen Services Department is greatly needed. As the mayor said, I'd like to thank Councilman Carroll, the entire council, and the administration for giving us this opportunity to effectively administer the programs that the city needs. And so, you know, we're looking forward to doing that as effective and efficiently as possible to put those direct services to the citizens. So thank you again.
Comments? Councilman Carroll, you got the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, ladies, Ms. Miller and Ms. Thompson, for coming today. I'd like to first thank the mayor and his administration for the support that was given to this effort. And we've had a couple of other individuals came up before them to show that the city of Kenner, we're not staying stagnant on anything. With the vision, with the support of the council and the administration, we don't have time to stay stagnant. We have to do things differently. I must say that we have talked a lot about the food bank, and as of today will be my last time using the term food bank. It will, from this point forward, be citizen services, because that's what it is. In the past, and I'm just as guilty as anyone else, had the wherewithal just to call it just District 1 food bank, where it is not a District 1 food bank. It is a food bank for the entire city of Kenner. So that is the vision, to understand that there are a number of people who attend the food bank for services from the city of Kenner who are just as willing to support the city of Kenner as anyone else. and we have not been able to tap onto that. We have not been able to expand the services for the citizen service department to be able to expand. You know, we have individuals, organizations in North Kenner, the North Kiwanis, a number of groups that are willing to support this organization. As everyone know, we have the Sippin' for Santa, which is something that the chief wife and former Mayor Yenny's wife have been very involved with. With their support, they have raised thousands of dollars to support the food bank. That is something that can get even better with their support, and we look forward to crossing Airline Highway and going on all the way to the lake to be able to get different groups to do things for the city of Kenner. We, as the council, it is now our responsibility, and I will be as open and as asking for your support to be able to support from the individuals from your independent districts to be part of, because everyone wants to be able to get better, to learn more things. I won't go into much details other than to say that we will be expanding it just from giving out food to have cooking demonstrations, to be able to understand about healthy livings that not only supports the food bank and the people that come there, but for the city employees. We as employees, when we eat healthier, our insurance cost goes down. So this is something that will go across the board through the entire city of Kenner. We look forward to this. We are looking at different ways of training, to improving the training, to improving the services from the employees at the food bank, because everyone can get trained and be better. You know, if you can't afford to be stagnant in one spot and not learn other things from other food banks throughout the country. There's a major one that I found out yesterday in the city of Ohio that the ladies shared with me that is the model for a food bank. For us, it would be a model for citizen services. I think Ms. Fauché said there is a department in the Jefferson Parish that has citizen services. I'm not sure if it involves the food bank services, but it is an extension of the administration to be able to offer other things. Ms. Fortunato have, as we all know, a lot of experience in marketing, television. We haven't tapped into using 76 to be able to showcase and to show the people, not only in the city of Kenner, but in the surrounding areas, this is what we have. So we have to do a better job. We have to take the lead, the council, myself, the mayor, and we are moving in that direction. We are not going to stay still. Obviously, there are going to always be some naysayers, but that's just the way it is. I think this is something that every person will be able to benefit from them. Every black, white, green, blue, yellow person, every person. And that is what the city of Kenner should be about, as we have seen from the last couple of individuals that came up. You know, all of us are in this together, and we have to be able to participate together. So enough being said, thank you, ladies, for the demonstration yesterday. Thank you for giving us the vast knowledge. I learned a whole lot yesterday about citizen services and all the things that go with it. I look forward to supporting you, along with the mayor and administration, and all of the ideas that you are bringing into the city of Kenner starting tomorrow. So thanks again for your support. Thank you, mayor. Thank you, administration. And again, council, I look forward to you guys' support from this part going forward within your specific areas, and particularly the at-larges who are over the whole city. So we look forward to working together. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Mr.
Councilman Wilmot?
Ladies, before you go,
And we have another one following, so.
yeah, I just wanted to thank Councilman Carroll on his leadership with this issue, and as also the mayor as well. It's so very important. Citizen services is very important. There's a lot of folks who are in need, and y'all going to be there along with us to help them. And I think we need this department. It's got to happen. And thank you all for stepping up and taking that role, and we appreciate your efforts. So thank you, Councilman Carroll, again, and Mayor. That's all I had to say. I just want to thank y'all.
Thank you.
Councilwoman McKinney?
Yes, I just wanted to thank Councilman Carroll and Mayor, but I also want to say congratulations to you. I think it's great, as the only woman on the council, I think it's great to have women leaders, inspiration. I think this speaks to women of color as well, leading the city in the area, and I think I'm just very proud to be part of this, and I'm going to support this, and I'm excited for you guys to be representing us. Thank you.
Councilwoman.
That's comments. And again, I appreciate y'all's work too. And as been said already, this will be a wonderful department for the city, and we thank you for your leadership. Thank y'all.
Yes, sir. That will conclude the consent agenda this evening.
All right, motion by Councilwoman McKinney, second by Councilman Wilmot. Council members, please vote.
Mr. Chairman, motion passes 7-0. Under the public appearance agenda this evening, we have item 9, public hearings for final passage. Item 9A is a public hearing regarding summary ordinance number 12,405, an ordinance approving the lease of Gordon Avenue right-of-way, Hanson Place subdivision, Kenner, Jefferson Parish, Louisiana, which said property is owned by the city of Kenner.
Motion by Councilmember Carroll, second by Councilmember Segura to open a public hearing. Council members, please vote.
Mr. Chairman, motion passes 7-0.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now in a public hearing. Anyone in the audience wishing to address the council on this matter, please come forward. I do not see any. Motion by Councilman Carroll, second by Councilman Segura to close the public hearing. Council members, please vote.
Mr. Chairman, motion passes 7-0.
Motion by Councilman Carroll, second by Councilman Segura to approve. No discussion. Council members, please vote.
Mr. Chairman, motion passes 7-0. Item 9B is a public hearing regarding summary ordinance number 12,413, an ordinance amending Chapter 7 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Kenner regarding the distribution of solicited and unsolicited print matter. Mr. Chairman, I've received a request for a 2-meeting deferral.
Motion by Councilmember McKinney, second by Councilmember Brennan to defer for 2 meetings. Council members, oh, wait, Greg, do you understand what we're doing?
You're deferring it, fine.
Okay, council members, please vote.
Mr. Chairman, motion passes 7-0. Item 10 is opening of bids. We have none. Item 11 is reclassification of zoning for final passage. We have none. Item 12 is other ordinances for final passage. Item 12A is summary ordinance number 12,414, an ordinance naming and designating the Butch Dewey concession stand as the Vincent Grafata concession stand.
Motion by Councilmember Segura, seconded by Council Wilmot. What this is, ladies and gentlemen, is the Mr. Grafata. I go back 3 decades maybe that I was involved, along with him and many other parents who were on the Butch Dewey Men's Club, Butch Dewey Boosters Club, worked in the concession stand to support and raise funds to buy equipment for the kids playing there. And in those days, Mr. Grafata was the heart and soul of concession and you getting the money to buy the equipment. And he would be out there daily making sure that before practices and before tournaments and games that the concession stand was staffed and supplied with food and drink. And that was not just the concession stand out by the baseball, football fields. That also took care of the concession stand in the gym during the basketball or volleyball activities inside. So he had 2 concession stands that he worked on very hard. So some years ago, Councilman Stagney had the council, and they approved to name one of the baseball fields after Mr. Vincent. And at that time, he was still alive. And as we now appreciate, there are some ways to do it, even if they are alive, name a building, but they named a field for him. So Mr. Grafata passed away a couple years ago, and so it's now fitting for us to name a building. And since he did so much to build the concession stand, and I don't want to say physically built it, but give the resources to go from a single-story, very kind of old, antiquated building to the nice new concession stand that was built during the tenure he was alive, that it's only fitting now that we name the building, the concession stand after him. So that's the purpose of this. Councilman Carroll?
Thank you, Mr. President, and I obviously will be supporting this. I knew Mr. Vincent growing up as a young man in the Kenner Recreation Department, and it was during the time when people like Mr. Vincent and many of the guys and ladies that worked in the recreation did not have a staff. They were responsible for cleaning the playground, cutting the grass, and making sure the concession and all of the things now that seems like a long memory to some people, but they were responsible. And I must say the city of Kenner we have gone out of our way to be able to show our appreciation, because I believe if not every playground or tot lot in the city of Kenner, most of them, 90% of them, are named after individuals who put in their blood, sweat, and tears, from Buddy Lawson, Susan Park, Lincoln Manor, Muspertolino, Butch Dewey. Think about it. All these individuals from the city of Kenner who gave their time and their money to support the playground when it was an infant, and where we are today, how far we've come, all of the facilities we've grown to, the competition that we give, the ability for other sporting events to want to come to the city of Kenner and use our services, or because of people like Mr. Vincent. So it is very fitting. I'm sure he's up there smiling and appreciating and wishing he could be participating, but he will now in name, and for this time forward, people, the younger generations, will have an opportunity to know of all of these guys and ladies that came before them. So I'm honored to be part of this. Thank you, Mr. President.
Councilman Brannigan?
Yes, when I was involved at Bertolino, he was involved at Butch Dewey, and he really worked his butt off for the children and got everything done and made sure that playground ran well. So I think this is perfect.
Councilman Wilmot?
Yeah, I just want to ditto those thoughts. He was also a great volunteer, and I think that's critical, especially the park system and the kids growing up, and to name the club as far as the building is concerned. I think that's great. We need to do that in honor of him. So I thank Mr. Vincent Graffato and his family. Everyone knows the dedication that he's had throughout the area. So this is a good move. Thank you. I'll be supporting.
Sure. You got to press. Okay, Councilman Carroll?
Thank you. And just one more thing I forgot. Besides the playground, Mr. Vincent was very actively involved in the Lions Club. For all of the people who have ever gone to the Christmas in the Park, the Lions Club, it's their booths that they help build for people to be able to use now, that we use to sell concessions. And they were actively involved in that, never got paid, always was supporting and setting it up. Until this day, we are still using that. So that's just one more thing that Mr. Vincent, as his relationship with the Lions Club, are still spreading out through the city of Kenner. And I just wanted to make sure we added that also. Thank you, Mr. President.
Yes, thank you. As a member of that Lions Club, I know we spent a lot of time over there. We've dedicated the kitchen after him because he cooked a lot of meals in there. Is there a member of the Graffato family here? I see you. Come on up. Good evening, Mark. Go ahead for the record. Give us your name, though.
Mark Graffato, son of Vincent Graffato. I just want to appreciate everything y'all doing. He meant a lot to me. I was out there every day with him doing the fields. I just want to thank everybody.
Yeah, I believe me, we hate doing it this fashion, because if we probably would have known years ago we could have done it when he was alive, I would have preferred to have done it to let him feel the goodwill that's coming from this. But we just, it takes an act of state legislature to do it when they're alive. So we didn't have the means per se then, but we'll keep that in mind that we do now. So again, we appreciate your dad's service to the city and the youth in our community for all he did with the playground and the Lions Club also. And let your mother know that this is greatly from our heart to do this. Thank you. All right, no other conversation. Council members, please vote.
Mr. Chairman, motion passes 7-0. Item 12B is summary ordinance number 12,415, an ordinance amending Kenner's Code of Ordinances regarding theft and other crimes against property and to provide for related matters.
Motion by Councilman Wilmot, seconded by Councilmember Brennan. Councilman Wilmot.
And what this does, this is legislation, it's actually, it mirrors the state's RS statutes. So we actually, every 5 to 10 years or so, the Louisiana DA's Association in Baton Rouge will request the state legislature to come up with legislation to update the state statutes in Title 14. They need to periodically be modified because the elements of the crimes and the penalty provisions correlate with the values associated with those stolen goods and stolen possessions and that type of thing. So these values need to be adjusted as inflation occurs. So that's the issue. We're dealing with inflation. So periodically these laws become outdated and they need to be changed. So they monitor them closely in Baton Rouge, and what this legislation will do will actually mirror the legislation with the state. So it's gonna be automatic. So it's gonna make life easier. It's well written. This legislation is well written. So I thank the legal department for their input in making this work, and it's automatic, so it keeps up. So, and I hope that all my colleagues here on the council will support this legislation.
Press your button again.
In addition, I just want to mention too, it allows for violations, again, to come through the mayor's court. So the city of Kenner will be hearing many of these matters. So that's important as well. So, but other than that, it needs to happen. Thank you.
All right, seeing no other discussion, council members, please vote.
Mr. Chairman, motion passes 7-0. Item 12C is summary ordinance number 12,419, an ordinance creating the Department of Citizen Services in accordance with Section 4.32 of the city charter and further designating the functions of the department and the department head.
Motion by Councilman Carroll, second by Councilmember Wilmot. Mr. Teff?
My name is Greg Taft, 3720 West Loyola Drive here in Kenner. I just got a couple questions, or maybe you can call them concerns. One of my concerns is that when we're adding another department. We're taking it from a department that serves the community already, which means that there is funding that is going to move with that department. And the money's going to come from the same type of department, which is the Community Service Department or Community Development Department. So my question is concerning the CBDG money. How is that going to be affected when it is proportioned out? Because now we're going to be paying additional salaries. We're going to be paying additional expenses on location. So I just want to make sure that, first of all, no district gets hurt because the CBD money is split up unevenly. So what I'm saying here, I'm not against the concept. I'm just concerned about the money side of it, and will the money actually still be there for all the other things that we're doing in the community?
Is that all you got, Greg?
That's it, that's it.
Okay, just want to make sure you had all your questions, so before they
No,
go to
that
answer,
was
they'll
it.
know what to answer.
Very simple, straightforward.
Okay, that's fine.
Ask Adam
Administrat-
Campo to come to the microphone.
Huh?
Can we have Adam
Yes.
Campo come to the microphone?
We're going to bring up somebody. Thank you.
Hi. Just to answer the question that Mr. Teff was raising, CDBG funding is federal funding. The intent of splitting this off as a new department is actually to separate federally allocated funds from every other type of funding, whether that be donation or general funds or anything like that. So CDBG money won't be affected at all for the current programs that the Department of Community Development uses it for, because this department will have no federal funding in it. One of the big problems that we saw, and one of the reasons we wanted to do this, was if human errors occur and federally allocated funds are not managed properly, or the federal government says they're not managed properly, they can ask you for all funding back. So separating these two departments actually prevents that problem from ever existing in the city again. But it should not affect CDBG funding in the current programs that it goes towards.
Thank you. Ms. Foshee?
Just to add to that, too, the question was posed by Mr. Teff about whether there's actually going to be an increase here. What happens is when you have the CDBG funds and the non-funds in the same department, you can't actually do fundraising without running the risk that those funds have to go back to the CDBG program because they're considered program income. By separating these out, this department actually has the ability to engage in fundraising, which will then stay with the department. So by separating this department out, you actually are going to be able to generate more funds. So it's going to be a net increase, not a net decrease to the city.
Thank you. No other discussion? Council members, please vote.
Mr. Chairman, motion passes 7-0. Item 13 is resolutions and motions by council members. We have none. Item 14 is items removed from the consent agenda. We have none. Item 15 is acceptance of contracts and similar matters approved by the mayor. Item 15A, summary ordinance number 12,410, an ordinance authorizing an increase in the amount of $96,081.62 to purchase upgraded equipment on the Rosenbauer 101-foot Cobra Smart aerial platform fire truck with funds reallocated from the BP settlement from Bonaventure Company Incorporated for the Kenner Fire Department. Mr. Chairman, we've received a request for a one-meeting deferral this evening.
Thank you. Motion by Councilman Brennan, second by Councilmember McKinney for a one-meeting deferral. Council members, please vote.
Mr. Chairman, motion passes 7-0. Item 15B is summary ordinance number 12,416, an ordinance ratifying an emergency purchase for a fire alarm system at Kenner Heritage Hall in the amount of $19,988 by Total Quality Service Incorporated for the Department of General Services.
Motion by Councilmember Hayes, seconded by Councilmember Segura. No discussion. Council members, please vote.
Mr. Chairman, motion passes 7-0. Item 15C is summary ordinance number 12,417, an ordinance authorizing the rental of portable toilets on an as-needed basis utilizing the Jefferson Parish contract with Throne To Go LLC doing business as Event Room, proposal number 50-001-22046, not to exceed $20,000 for the Kenner Department of Parks and Recreation.
Motion by Councilmember Brannigan, seconded by Councilmember Hayes. Seeing no discussion, council members, please vote.
Mr. Chairman, motion passes 7-0. Item 15D is summary ordinance number 12,418, an ordinance approving a cooperative endeavor agreement with Visit Kenner Incorporated for services related to increasing tourism in the city of Kenner, and in consideration of these services to provide payment in the form of monthly net proceeds of the hotel occupancy tax in the city of Kenner as authorized by LSA RS 47:338, 203, after deductions of reasonable expenses and related matters.
Motion by Councilmember Segura, seconded by Councilmember Hayes. See no discussion. Council members, please vote.
Mr. Chairman, motion passes 7-0. Item 15E is a resolution ratifying project amendment number 2 to the forced main infrastructure improvements within the Kenner Hanson City Areas Project Application from the Parish of Jefferson and the State of Louisiana Division of Administration, Office of Community Development and Disaster Recovery Unit, and revising the total grant amounts to clarify the correct amount of Kenner local funding commitment.
Motion by Councilmember Carroll, seconded by Councilmember Brannigan. Seeing no discussion, council members, please vote.
Mr. Chairman, motion passes 7-0. Item 15F is a resolution approving change order number 5 to the contract with Barrier Construction Company, LLC, dated July 26, 2017, regarding Chateau Boulevard resurfacing, state project number H.011007, federal aid project number H.011007, Kenner Public Works number 2014-007-RB, for a net increase of $141,607.02, resulting in a total contract amount of $892,302.66 for the Department of Public Works.
Motion by Councilmember Brannigan, seconded by Councilmember McKinney. Seeing no discussion, council members, please vote.
Mr. Chairman, motion passes 7-0. Item 15G is a resolution approving amendment number 4 to the engineering agreement with Hartman Engineering Incorporated regarding Kenner Hanson City Sewer Lift Station improvements for LS 4102 Airline Drive in Mendon and LS 4103 Firehouse Road, and increasing the maximum fee of $12,000 for a new maximum of $271,751.65 for the Department of Public Works.
Motion by Councilmember Carroll, seconded by Councilmember Brannigan. Seeing no discussion, council members, please vote.
Mr. Chairman, motion passes 7-0. Item 15H is a resolution accepting as complete the agreement with Han Enterprises Incorporated dated May 25, 2018, in the amount not to exceed $23,454 regarding the furnish and install new playground equipment at Wentwood Playground for the Department of Parks and Recreation.
Motion by Councilmember Brennan, seconded by Councilman McKinney. Seeing no discussions, please vote.
Mr. Chairman, motion passes 7-0. Item 15I is a resolution accepting as complete the agreement with Han Enterprises Incorporated dated May 11, 2018, in the amount not to exceed $34,949 regarding the furnish and install new playground equipment at Wentwood Adult Gym for the Department of Parks and Recreation.
Motion by Councilmember Brennan, seconded by Councilmember Hayes. Seeing no discussion, council members, please vote.
Mr. Chairman, motion passes 7-0. Item 15J is a resolution accepting as complete the agreement with Crown Architectural Metal Company, LLC, dated July 18, 2017, for the roof repairs to Rivertown Main Theater for the Department of Parks and Recreation.
Motion by Councilman Carroll, seconded by Councilmember Brennan. Seeing no discussion, council members, please vote.
Mr. Chairman, motion passes 7-0. Item 16 is ordinances and resolutions in summary for first reading. Mr. Chairman, I've received a request from the administration that we will be removing items 16F, 16G, and 16I from the agenda tonight. Item 16A is an ordinance authorizing a cooperative endeavor agreement with the 6th Justice Court for the use of office space located at 1801 Williams Boulevard, Building C, first floor, in Kenner, Louisiana. Item 16B is an ordinance approving a planned unit development for an office and warehouse located on Lot 31A, Square 159, Kenner Heights subdivision, which property is zoned R1-P, residential planned unit development. Item 16C is an amendment to ordinance number 10,930, adopted June 8, 2015, and ordinance number 11,331, adopted September 21st, 2017, approving a conditional use for the new construction of a parking garage as part of the Louis Armstrong International Airport's North Terminal, located on a portion of T12S-R9E of the Southeast Land District of Louisiana, Kenner, Louisiana, which property is zoned AH-I, Aviation Heavy Industrial. Item 16D is an ordinance revoking the dedication of the 50-foot wide street bisecting a north-south direction, square number 41 and square number 42, City of Kenner, bounded by Corwin Street to the north and Short Street to the south. Item 16E is an ordinance amending Chapter 15, Traffic and Motor Vehicles, Article 2, Section 15-21 of the Kenner Code of Ordinances. Item 16F was removed. Item 16G was removed. Item 16H is an ordinance authorizing the purchase of a PAD Trax RFID evidence and accountability system at a cost of $30,282.23 from C&A Associates Incorporated, a sole source provider for the Kenner Police Department. Item 16I was removed. Item 16J is an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from Han Enterprises Incorporated to furnish and install modern shade cover or equal to at Seton Park in accordance with letter bid number 18-1575 and an amount not to exceed $18,515 for the Department of Parks and Recreation. Item 16K is an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from Atacapa Services LLC to provide sanitary sewer evaluation services in accordance with seal bid number 18-6437 and an amount not to exceed $200,000 for the Department of Public Works. Item 17 is reports from the council and/or special committees.
Councilman Brannigan?
Yeah, I wanted to thank our state legislators. We had a Seymour project for the to move the fire station on Loyola, and I wanted to thank Senator Danny Martini for getting with Senator Paige Cortez, who is the chairman of that, to make sure that the meeting happened on July 30th. We were under a deadline that this had to be done before August 1st because the state of Louisiana changed the funding levels for these type of projects, and it would have knocked this thing out. I want to thank Senator Gary Smith and Danny Martini for speaking to the committee because what happened when we went to Baton Rouge, they had to have 10 representatives and 4 senators to have a quorum to be able to move this project forward. These representatives, the House reps and the senators, have been in session for 5.5 months. So I was a little bit nervous about making sure that we had the number needed to make sure the quorum was there so that we got this project done. It's going to be a savings to the city, and we're looking at a lot of money, over $4 million. So the senators that were there were Cortez, Martini, Smith, Price, Erdy, and Fannin. And there are 10 House members, Landry, who was the chairman, Gardner, Harvard, Franklin, Gisclair, Gwynn, Hall, Hill, Pope, and Lagasse. I want to thank them as a councilman, and I also want to thank them as a citizen of Kenner, because it will save our city a lot of money and help to keep our fire rating where it is.
Thank you. Councilman Carroll? No, I'm sorry. Well, Brennan popped up first. Sorry, go ahead, Brennan.
Thank you. Just to echo Councilman Brannigan's comments, this is really good news for us and for the city. I know Councilman Carroll and I have had conversations about the nervousness of the airport and what it's going to do to Loyola, and this is just another part of that equation in keeping traffic and things moving in a good direction. So thanks to those men, and thank you for bringing that up.
Councilman Carroll.
Thank you, Mr. President. And as a piggyback on to Councilman Brennan as it relates to the flyover, obviously it has been in the news. It has been all over Baton Rouge, everywhere as it relates to the flyover to the airport in the city of New Orleans, and the information that the people in the city of Kenner has to know. Obviously, it will be a more direct dealing for the people in the Susan Park and the Veteran Heights area and along Loyola. But it will also affect the people in Lincoln Manor, the University City, all the way back to Chateau Estates, and everybody that used the corridor of Veterans Highway. As everyone knows, we've had a meeting that was scheduled by the group of engineers and all at the City Park, not City Pavilion, the Pavilion, because we had to get something off the ground first to get some information. We had to get something out there to be able to address some of the questions, to get a feel for it. So that was the location picked first to have it. At the same time, with the coordination with the mayor, with the state legislators, with the senators, obviously we had to have one in the area where most of the work is going to be done, which will be at the Susan Park Gym. So after that meeting, we have a good feel for a lot of the questions. So now to be able to have a meeting to share with the people from that area, we are ready and poised again to have that meeting. And I like the Public Works Director to add to that the information of the date of the meeting and information like that, if you don't mind, sir, for the public.
Yeah, I'd be glad to. As you said, it will be this Friday, it will be tomorrow from 5 to 7, and what they're calling it a community outreach. We've already had the public meeting. So that meeting will be, as you said, at the Susan Park Gym, and the reason for it is they wanted more people from that area to participate. They felt they were unrepresented, so that's the reason for it.
I don't mean to cut you off. I think it's,
Sorry?
I think it's.
I'm sorry, I misspoke. Yeah, it is the 15th. I'm sorry, I'm thinking about our stakeholders meeting.
Yeah, could you repeat that again so there's no miscommunication? The date
Yeah, sure.
of the meeting?
The community outreach will be next Wednesday on the 15th, and it will be at the Susan Park Gym, 5 to 7.
Right, and thank you. So now, all of the people that went to the meeting before the first one had an opportunity to hear and look and see, and the people who were available, who were fortunate enough to be there and had the opportunities and the communications and the transportation. So now, for the people, there are some people who just don't have those luxuries to do that. So we are bringing it, and it's probably going to be some of the same format, but it will be an opportunity for people to pass the information on to everyone who lives not only in that area but the entire city of Kenner. So we look forward to everyone coming out to be able to listen, to learn, to pass suggestions, comments, and concerns as it relates to the flyover. So, if you can make it, please come out. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. I want to thank Councilman Brannigan for reading off a list of senators and state reps' names who helped us out. But also in our audience tonight is a state rep that I'm sure has helped us out. So I'd like to give State Rep Kirk Talbot an opportunity to come up here and maybe tell us what he's done to help us out.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. The flyover is a big concern. When this whole thing started, the funding really wasn't in place, and Mayor Zahn really kind of brought it to the delegation's attention that this thing is really right around the corner. I mean, they're scheduled to open in February. So unfortunately, the flyover won't be ready by then. That takes a lot with federal funds and so on. But the money is there. It will be built. And, hopefully we can just suffer through some of the traffic problems that'll pose at first. But I think it's going to be, I drove by the airport the other day. I see it all the time. I'm touring it, I think, next week. And it is unbelievable, like everybody has seen. And it's really going to be a great asset to Kenner. And we just hope that they open up on time, and we're going to do everything we can in Baton Rouge to make sure that everything keeps going along with that funding. But from what I see now, everything is in place, and everything is online for that ramp to be built.
Thank you. And even though, like I said, I know you don't represent particularly Kenner, but I'm sure you've done some things to help us out up there.
Well, we all fly out of the airport too. We all dine and visit Kenner, so it helps the whole area.
Well, very good. Anything else you'd like to add?
That's it, unless anybody has a question for me.
Oh, Mayor?
Oh, they got something for me.
Wow. Lit up the board. All right, we'll go with Councilman Brannigan first.
Kirk, I just wanted to say that I'm sorry I missed you. And I also missed Representative Stokes and Stagney, and I know that you guys, everybody works together to get things done for Kenner. We want to just thank you.
You're welcome.
Mayor Zahn.
Thank you. I want to echo that. Besides the group that you mentioned and our senators that represent Kenner and our state representatives that represent Kenner, Kurt, you have reached out since my days on the parish council to always want to help that council district, which obviously includes Kenner, and also a year and a half ago reached out to me in the first few months as mayor to say, look, we got issues with the airport road, we got issues with this flyover. So you've always been an extension of the city of Kenner up there in Baton Rouge. Like I said, besides the guys and ladies that represent us, I want to thank you for the things that you've done for Kenner and always continuing to reach out to us, Kurt. Thank you.
Thank you, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention Cameron Henry, who represents Jefferson and Old Metairie, who is chairman of the House Appropriations Committee, was very instrumental in making sure that this funding happened. So I do want to acknowledge that too.
Councilman Wilmot.
Thank you. And Representative Talbot, I just wanted to say, first off, you know, it's nice seeing you. We had served together for many years in Baton Rouge, and I appreciate all the hard work that you have put in up there. I know you've dedicated a large portion of your life to the state of Louisiana and your district. So thank you for what you've done. And also the city of Kenner. You have done a lot for us. I know you already have, and you're going to continue to do so. So thank you. You've been a friend.
You're welcome, and I miss carpooling with you to Baton Rouge.
All right, well, no other comments. Again, thank you, Rep.
Thank you, Mr.
Talbot,
Chairman.
for
Thank you,
coming to our
council
meeting
members.
and being available to give us some information to ensure everybody that what is moving forward is going to keep moving forward.
Thank you, and thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 18 is new business. We have none. Item 19 is unfinished business and motions to reconsider or remove from a tabled position. We have none. Item 20 is persons wishing to address the council on special subject matters.
Mr. Al Morella.
Al Morella, 4260 East Loyola Drive, 5th District, 46 years. I want to expand a little bit on the old Kenner Convention and Visitors Bureau, predecessor of now Visit Kenner, okay? The Yenny administration dissolved that agency because $100,000 of our money was misappropriated. It made the evening news several times. It made several editions of the Times-Picayune at that time. The only problem was, when it was dissolved, it was merged with the Jefferson Convention and Visitors Bureau. Our money was never recovered, and no one was ever held accountable. And I think that the problem was attributed to political patronage. So I would say I'm all for promoting tourism in our city, but I hope we've learned from the Kenner Convention and Visitors Bureau debacle, and I'm expecting full financial disclosure of this new agency and progress reports on a pretty frequent basis, as you know, if it's done what it's intended to do. And I want to see qualified people sitting in this agency and doing what it's exactly supposed to do and being held accountable for our money. Now, with that being said, next item on the agenda, I'd like to know what the economic impact was from the gun show at the Pontchartrain Center the last week in July, and the dog show at the Pontchartrain Center that was just completed this past weekend. So that's about all I have for the season. Anybody got any comments, any questions? And I'm not yielding my time to nobody, so you can answer my questions when I'm done speaking. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Morell. Mr. Oscar Cade, Sr.
First, giving honor to Father God. Second, to
Mr. Cade, can
Lord
we
and
have your
Savior
name and
Jesus
address
Christ,
first, please?
and to the Holy Spirit that dwells in each and every one of us,
Mr. Cade.
to the administration, and to the audience. This is addressed to the mayor only.
Mr. Cade.
Yes.
Procedure, I need to have your name and address on the record.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Oscar Cade, Sr., 1507 Garden, Gordon Street, Kenner, Louisiana, zip 765, Lincoln Manor subdivision.
Thank you.
And also a new member of the Lincoln Manor Civics Club.
Thank you.
I'm not speaking for the Civic Club tonight, okay? All this is addressed to the mayor, our proud mayor. Mr. Mayor, I want to show you this, and hopefully the rest of you all can join in with it. It's an idea. This signal, 1011, what I'm doing with this signal is teaching the young kids that may be in distress, need help, or maybe going to tell someone somebody's bringing a gun to school tomorrow. If a kid do this signal, 1011, hopefully the mayor can get law enforcement to check, see what these kids want or what the problem may be. Even one of us, the kid could be hungry, lost, or whatever. We're going to start teaching that in Kenner. Hopefully it'll spread. Next thing, Mr. Mayor, asking you when you get time, I had asked before we had this tragedy on Webster Street about training 2 of our officers, one for day and one for night, how to handle the mental ill. Hopefully you can look into that. The next thing is police friendliness. I recall Hendry Polito, when we brought this up to Salentini, Hendry put a hand in his car that was always waving. When a kid wave at a police and a police officer don't wave back, that's a negative thing. All you see on the news is where the police had to kill somebody and it looks bad. All police officers are not bad. So if we can just get some of the officers to wave back at the kids, police friendly, I'm calling it. The next thing, community meetings. Community meetings, if we can do it quarterly, Mr. Mayor. Every 3 months, we get our council person to have a community meeting in different parts of the community if we got to rotate it. Therefore, the people can't get to the meeting here at 5. They can meet with him, you know, in that third time or whatever, 4 quarters in the year. Okay, the next thing that we have, Mr. Mayor, I'm hopeful that you can do whatever you can for whatever recognition they can give to Doc Arthur Burton. Our family had 14 members when we came to Kenner, you know, where some of them grew up in Kenner. But this man was so gracious, if you didn't have money to pay for your medication, he would give it to you. Now, I got 2 more things to say and I'm through. And I talked to this young lady, she said that you cleared this up. I was gonna ask you, Mr. Mayor, if you could find something in your administration for Ms. DeFrancis, because that young lady is the cornerstone in Kenner, and I mean, whenever I gave something, she always showed up. So I found that this young lady said that you all found a position for her, so we'll scratch that. So the other thing is, Mr. Mayor, hopefully we may be able to, if it's possible, to set the council meeting back to 6. Whereas when people get off work, we'll have time to participate in it. If you can't set it back to 6, just let me know and then I can explain it to the rest of them. The next thing, this is my final thing. My question have always been, ever since I put Cage Raiders together, and that's been many years ago, how your kid gonna meet my kid 10 years from today? With a business card or a 38? And my objective is to help every kid get a business card. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cage.
Questions or comment before I leave?
Mr. Councilman Carroll would have the floor right now. I'm not sure what he's going to do, but
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Cage, for coming up. But I'm glad you brought up the part about the policemen and the information that the police officers can share with the community. That is one of the things with the young ladies, if you saw tonight with the citizen services, that will have an active role of including the fire department, the police department, and different things that they're going to be doing for the community. And that is the type of stuff, safety, to be aware of your surroundings that we will be having from this organization for citizen service. So I'm glad you brought that up. That is something that they brought to our attention that other places are doing, and we will be doing it also. And making the policeman not seem as a separate entity, but part of things that we all do, recreation, and whatever else what they're going to be coming up with. So that is a good idea. and I will keep you informed on that as we move forward with that organization.
Okay.
Also, Mr. Burton was a fantastic guy. Knew him my whole life. Well, I've known of him my whole life and supported everyone in the community. There's some information we received about recognizing him and his services with a plaque, pretty much like we did for Councilman Laverine on West Napoleon. To do that, it's in legal right now, looking at it, and I'll be sending out letters next week to everybody on Webster Street to let them know about what's coming up, just to get any comments and concerns. So those are the two things that we are working on as we speak, and I'm glad you brought those up.
Okay, and I'm glad you brought that up also. One other quick point. We had a job fair back on 31st Street. And when I heard and found out about 28 people showed up for that, I was heartbroken. The next time, Mr. Mayor, if y'all got anything, get a letter to me or something, and I'll see to it that we get to the churches and get everything informed so we can have people out. Right now, I'm on another mission. I'm working, trying to get people registered to vote and get these young people involved, because we need more Officer Lees and Politos and Joe Yennies. We need people like that. And the only way we can get them back is train them while they're young, because we have lost a generation. So God bless you all, and thanks for listening to me.
Thank you.
Mr.
Thank you, Mr. Cade.
Can I?
Oh, Mayor?
Mr. Cate,
Yes.
You had a question, sir?
Just to answer a few of the things. First of all, getting the information to the churches, we'd be glad to do that with our new department, Citizens Affairs. So we'll be able to do that, get those things to the churches, and I'm sure those two ladies, the new director and assistant director, can help us with that. As for Mr. Francis, I'm not going to share all her business here tonight, but myself and Councilwoman McKinney, in talking with Councilman McKinney, we've offered her a board position, non-paying board position with the city of Kenner. We're still talking to her about that, but I believe she's going to take it because there are some things that she can still offer to the city of Kenner. So we will be talking a little bit further with her about that, former Councilwoman DeFrancis. Arthur Burton, Councilman Carroll handled that. That's something that either your office sent to me or something you're working with Jefferson Parish with that legal has now. So I know that Councilman Carroll is on top of that, and I appreciate him doing that. And we will do something very similar to the John Laverine plaque. Right. Community outreach, we could probably do more of that through Citizens Affairs. That's being formed as of tonight. Lincoln Manor that you live in, the lady that runs Lincoln Manor does a very good job of it. But maybe we can get her in touch with Citizens Affairs and make that a little more popular for the area. The KPD issues, I always say this. We have an elected chief. The chief does not work for me. I don't appoint the chief. You all do. Y'all elect him to his seat. He runs his police department. I don't tell him how to run his police department. He doesn't tell me how to run City Hall. So I would urge you to reach out to the chief and talk to him as much as you can. Obviously, he's not here tonight because of his stepfather, but whatever you can work out with him, I will support whatever his decisions are.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, just let me make this one comment. What made Joe Yenny and Sal Lentini popular and never forgotten is the fact they had an open door policy. Certain people could come in and talk to them and give them ideas. We don't have that anymore. So that's why I'm addressing you. You fix it, and then maybe he'll let me in and I can talk with him.
Right.
Okay.
I have an open door policy. To my knowledge, the chief does have an open door policy.
I understand that, but the
I can't-
community is upset. I got things going on in the community now that I don't oppose of.
I'm
I
sure.
help you in a way because I trust in you. Now, I'm talking directly to you, whereas you can call me on the phone or I can call you and we can discuss it, because I'm not going to be in a word and disrespect my mayor. But there are some things that need to be addressed that I can talk to you about, and then you can handle it. And we won't have to air it out in front of everybody.
Right. We will have no
That's
problem.
being due respect.
We'll have no problem passing it on to the chief, but what the chief does from that point
Well,
is...
like I say, if the chief okay it, fine. I'm going to Jefferson Parish and everybody else with that idea. Thank you.
The last thing is the meeting to 6 o'clock. I'm going to agree with you with most of these things that are on here, except you dealing with the chief. I think the meeting is too late. So for me to want to even, that's y'all's choice, but for me to even want to move it to 6, I'd ask y'all not to do that. I don't like it at 5. I'd like it a little bit earlier, but it's 5 o'clock right now.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Cade.
Thank you.
Oscar Roby? I'm sorry. Oh, Charles Roby. Appreciate it. State your name and address, please.
And my name is Charles Roby. I stay at 4200 Connecticut Avenue, Kenner, Louisiana. And I'm here to thank the mayor, the council, the Ford and Coastman people, because we had a big problem on 42nd Street with cars being parked all on the grass and double parking all in the street out there, you know, and they finally, you know, y'all addressed it by putting the signs up, you know, and we really appreciate that, you know, because I stay like on the corner today, and, you know, the kids by the apartment, I done saw over maybe 3 or 4 kids almost got hit by cars because, you know, they're out of school, they're playing ball, you know, ball going in the street, people have to hit their brake for it, but it looked 100% better now. When you turn off of William Boulevard coming on 42nd Street, there's no more cars there, you know, and it's just, you can see the whole street now, you know. So I just come to say thank y'all very much. Even the mailman told me the other day, he said, man, it's about time, you know. I don't have to keep getting out of my truck, you know, because people parking all in front of the mailboxes and stuff like that, you know. But I come to say thank y'all very much for passing that and putting the signs up for us, you know. And it really look nice now. It look 100% nice. And the Ford and Coastman people, you got to give them an A+, because they done a sweep going down, they're cleaning up everything, you know. But like I told my neighbor, you know, we can't just put all the pressure on the council and the mayor and everybody, you know. The thing that we can do in the neighborhood ourselves to keep the neighborhood up, like the drains and stuff like that, you know. I mean, I clean my drains out, you know, I clean the ones out by the apartments and stuff like that. That little thing that people could do in the neighborhood for themselves instead of calling up the Ford and Coastman, you know, to come out and do everything, you know. We got to take responsibility to do things ourselves in the neighborhood, you know. And I had a talk with the lady who bought the apartment across the street from me. We talked for a long time, you know. And I told her the problem that they had, and she was happy that they put the signs up, you know. And she said she's getting on her people about putting the cans out and putting them back in. So far, everybody been doing a real good job over there, and it's a real nice, clean place. It look like Joanne now. It really look good. And I just want to thank the mayor and everybody who was involved in, you know, passing put the signs up and everything, you know. So we really appreciate that.
Good, thank you. I'm sure Councilman Hayes appreciates your thanking. That's his district, and he had a lot to ensure that happened and got passed for you to have that pleasure of seeing no cars.
I got to get used to his name.
Great.
I know the other guy, I got to get used to his name.
That's right, Councilman Hayes.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much.
Sure. Mayor Zahn?
As a Beachview resident, I want to thank you also, because it is nice when you're coming home that you don't have to deal with all that. You know, I know your predecessor left it for you. I don't know if he thought that was going to be a good thing or a bad thing for you, but it's going to be a popular thing for you, because the Beachview residents don't want to have to zigzag through those cars parked on 42nd Street. So I want to thank you for that. But I guess I want to wrap it up by saying something that Councilman Brannigan and I talk about all the time. He said that, you know, the gentleman that just came up said he wants the neighborhood to be proud, something to be proud of. We want every neighborhood to be proud. And that's something that you and I have talked about a few times. And that's what's important. And I think all of you, I know all of you all have your own areas and your own neighborhoods and the places you represent, and y'all doing a good job of that. So I want to thank just not you, Councilman Hayes, but all of y'all for doing that. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Councilman Wilmot.
Thank you. I'd just like to make a comment too, Councilman Hayes. That's a good move on your part, and thank you for bringing that legislation. It's nice to see that we have residents and constituents who are happy with our good work, and chalk that one up to you. Of course, that's the no stop signs near Beechwood. And also I'd like to say as well as a comment was made a little while ago that many of us do not have open door policies. that's not so. I don't know of anybody up here that doesn't have an open door policy, including the mayor. I can't answer for the chief. I don't know his policies, but here at the council, and I'm sure the mayor as well, we do. And I know my phone number has been given out hundreds, if not close to the thousands. So I have an open door policy, and if anybody has any issues, I'm, always available. So thank you, though, and I appreciate you coming up and displaying and making comments, all your concerns. Those are important to us. We like hearing those things so we can actually have some interaction, so we can fix things that might be of concern. So we appreciate you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Councilman Brennan.
Thank you, Council President. Mr. Rhodey, thank you. It is nice when people come up and say thanks. To Councilman Wilmot's point, I've received complaints about things and information, and then we hear things a lot of times on social media. We see things on different sites that we're not aware of. All of our cards have phone numbers on them, and we ask people, whether it's a street light, whether it's an issue, call our office, and we will do what we can, and we will do our best to resolve those matters. That's what we're here for. And as the gentleman said, it's nice when the community looks nice, but it's our city. We all live here. Whether it's my neighborhood, your neighborhood, or somebody else's neighborhood, we're here for the betterment of the city. And that may be hard to believe at times, but that's the truth, and I know each of these people very, very well and feel that way. So call our offices. It's as simple as a phone call. We all have assistants, and they will get right on it, and if it takes further action, it'll be done. We're here for you, folks. We're here for you. Thank you.
Councilman Carroll.
Thank you, Mr. President. And, Mr. Rowley, thanks for coming in. Thanks for Councilman Hayes for doing that. And I just wanted to add that, the mayor mentioned earlier in the beginning of the meeting about Mr. Rick. And as our co-director, and during his tenure, the code department started with the intensive sweeping that's been going on right now. So, we're going to miss him, but we have this handsome gentleman right here, Mr. James Muhammad, has taken his place. We'll do a fantastic job also. But those are the type of things that Mr. Rick started. All the guys have bought in on it for the code to be able to address, to ensure that all of the communities, because when we all look good, it makes the whole city prosper for people coming in. So I don't think the mayor, I don't think Mr. Muhammad, I don't think the administration is going to back off from that just because Mr. Rick isn't here. If anything, we're going to do more for it. So we look forward to ensuring that all of the neighborhoods look as well as your street does, sir. And we look forward to that. Thank you, and thank you for your support. Thank you, Mr. President.
Councilman McKinney.
Yes, Mr. Ruby, I want to thank you. That's my old neighborhood, so I am happy that that has gotten cleared up. I know we got a lot of complaints when I was the Beachview Heights Civic Association president. Thank you, Mr. Hayes, for getting that done. And I just want to thank you. I want to reiterate what Brian Brennan said and say, or Councilman Brennan, actually, and thank him about reaching out and coming and thanking us for what we do, because we really like to see and really it's nice to get that appreciation. And then also, I just want to say that, all of our doors are open. I gave you my card, Mr. Cade, and please contact me and let me know of any events. If Maria DeFranco is there, I'll be there. Thanks.
Councilman Brannigan.
One thing that stuck out when you were speaking is that you said you were a member of your civic association, and I think that's a very important piece of the puzzle. One of the things that will be addressed in my newsletter coming up is that I think that every resident that lives in a subdivision should be part of their civic association because that's what keeps the thing together. I've been part of mine for 36 years in Chateau Lakefront, and do a lot of things with the Civic Association. So that's an important piece of the puzzle to make everything right in a city. And again, I have the open door policy. I think the whole city has my personal cell phone number. I've got a card for you, 24/7. Just give me 24 hours to call you back.
Thank you. If you want to speak, I can put you back on the list. I know you didn't sign in, but, okay. All right. On this matter here, you're saying? Yes. Okay, come on up. And Oscar, and before you start, Pastor, Mr. Cade, not that I should have to tell you, but you know you and I go back a long time, so you know I'm an open door, and if you call me, I got you. We appreciate that. We need the help, and that's where we get ideas to move forward. And Pastor, I'm sure you have something for us?
Yes.
Yeah.
Pastor Jacqueline Brown Cockerham, 2610 Decatur Street, Apartment A, Kenner, Louisiana. Just like to kind of piggyback off of Mr. Cade with Maria DeFrances. I think it's a great idea to have her as a part of the board or even a paying position. Maria DeFrances was very good at relationship and communication with the people. And like I said when she was getting ready to leave, that she cried with us, she walked with us, she shared with us a lot of things that were going on in the district and in the city in particular. The other statement I had was about the airport. Did I miss something that said about the fire station being moved, or is it going to remain?
No, there's an overpass that has to go there. So the
Okay,
fire
so where
station,
is it moving to?
that's in the works. We're still posturing that, and this is where all this conversation went earlier, the monies that were just approved.
Right, I got that part, but I missed something about the movement of that fire station.
The last comment that Councilman Brannigan was thanking the senators and representatives was to approve funding that will help us pay for the movement of our fire station.
Okay, so I heard that they do have the money. And
Yes.
the other statement was about 27th Street. Can that ramp go over 27th Street? It is our only east-west connection, and now it's being blocked.
I would
by a
strongly
tenant
suggest come
a
to
wall.
the meeting that Councilman Carroll will
I
have.
was there the last
because-
time.
Okay, but make sure you put that in your comments.
That's what I did.
Okay, we'll do it again, because they're holding another meeting, they want to hear again. Put that in your comments. I understand what you're
Okay,
saying.
and I know they finalized things basically,
Not
but
final
at the same
completely,
time, I wanted to inquire because I missed the part about the movement.
Yeah, well,
And then not knowing where it's going, and we're right
Okay.
there.
oh, no, but believe me, that's what's taken us a little while to decide, because we are very much involved with the Fire Rating Board, the PIAL, and they give us guidance on where it can go. So using that as a guide, we have to proceed with the location.
Okay, thank you,
Sure.
council people. Have a blessed day, and don't watch the time.
I know.
Working good.
There's things going on right now that I know some people are trying to get to. Mr. Teff.
Greg Tapp, 3720 West Loyola Drive. I just want to bring up something I brought up probably about a year ago, and I'm wondering if it's possible, now that, we've gone a year, that the sweeps that we've been doing have made their impact. Is there a way now that we can have people out in the evening when people are home and you got people parking on, 6 cars in their yard, on the grass, on the sidewalk. We got people parking in the mediums. because I drove around, there is no, all the signs that used to be in the medium says no parking, they're gone. They got bold enough to pull them out so they can park on the medium and feel it's okay. So really, all I'm asking is, have we gotten to the point yet where, besides the sweeps, is it possible that we could have enforcement out in the evenings when people are at home, and also to catch the folks that, or put some kind of signage back on the mediums, or at least enforce, because I see the police drive right by when they're parked on the medium. I see code enforcement drive right by when they're parked on the medium, so no one's stopping. So all I'm saying is, you know, I'd like to have that revisited. I brought it up a year ago. It's still a problem. The sweeps have made some benefit to the city. I'd like to see us carry it one step further. Thank you.
You finished with your time? You still had another minute left. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay, we're good.
I've been practicing to cut my time down.
Oh, well, that's fine, but, thank you, and then, I see, Mr.
I'm
Mohammed.
going to go sit down. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll have a little comment on the signs, and I believe that's gonna be that we can get them back up.
We're a little short-handed now, but we are making a great effort into finding some guys that want to work in the afternoons. We only have one guy that works in the afternoon right now. We're going to have somebody that works on Saturdays and maybe even on Sundays. But I can assure you this department is moving in the right direction. It's been moving in the right direction the last 5 or 6 years, and we're going to keep it that way.
Thank you. And the other question on the signs on the median, I presume, from my understanding, that's a no parking without a sign being there, but a sign is notification that there's no parking. So if the signs are gone and they're parking, we need to get signs back up? I'll ask the question legally. Is it pretty much understood that all of those medians are no parking areas? Do they have to, that's not by legislation, it's just.
No, you're not allowed to park on the medians.
Right.
If signs went up, it was likely because people were doing it. And,
Exactly, and then now that they're gone, they think they can. So we'll, each council member can certainly put a work order in and ask that any medians where parking is taking place, that the no parking signs go back up. It's a public works thing to put them back up.
It's an enforcement issue too, Councilman Segura.
Huh?
It's an enforcement issue as well.
I got you.
So, right.
But we'll see what happens after the sign goes back up, if they still park. Then it's an enforcement issue. Okay. Nobody else wishing to speak? I'll entertain a motion. Meeting closed.